what's up everybody? So I have a huge stack of books right here. I counted, it's actually 20. I didn't realize it was exactly 20, but I've got 20 books right here and I want to share with you 20 professional development books that I own and maybe give my thoughts on them. There are many, many more than this stack that I've read, but these are just some that I own, and the reason I own some and not others is just kind of random, honestly. I personally really like owning books because I like to be able to highlight in them, because I want to be able to read them and highlight the good parts and then keep them on a shelf, and then if I want to pick them up 10 years later, I want to be able to just skim through the highlights. Yeah, so the first one is Depth Typology. This one basically is kind of the basics of cognitive functions and such. Let's be honest, I've only skimmed it, so I'm not the best person to ask this one. I still need to read this one. Okay, next one, Thinking Fast and Slow. Yeah, it basically just talks about like 2 ways that we think. It talks about kind of like the animal mind, this kind of like at a gut level and just thinks really fast and quickly, and then the more deliberate mind and like when we use one or which when we use the other, when we should use them both. Great book. It's not that big of a book, but it's one of the biggest I have here. Yeah, I thought it was a good book. I always, around Christmas time, get into books like this. So you, maybe I'll tell you the ones that I read around Christmas time, but yeah, this one was a good one, one of those Christmas ones. This one, Neuroscience of Personality. This one was really interesting. So I don't know if you can kind of see on the back, but they have, I guess on the front also, but they have the regions of the brain. And so they basically took several people and they got groups of personalities together, hooked them up to an EEG machine. And then they looked for patterns in the personality types. So it's really, really interesting. I think it's a great book. Next one, The Complete Enneagram. I would say if you like the Enneagram, this is probably maybe the book to get. This one does delve into the subtypes. So like if you're a type 4, there are 3 types of type 4s, so it gives description about those. I thought it was good. I'm not a huge Enneagram person personally, but it's a pretty good book. Next one, The Effective Executive by Peter Drucker. This is a great book. I would say especially for ITJs, I would say it's a good one. For any other INTJs on this channel developing TE, I would say this is a really good book. This was really helpful to me. Bunch of crap on the back, that's how you can tell my SE husband borrowed it. Next one, The Road Back to You. If you just want to like dip your toe in the Enneagram and you just want to use it for like, I shouldn't be rude. If you just want to use it for like you're at a dinner party and you want to mention the Enneagram, this is the sort of a nice thin little book. One-stop shopping. Next one, The Art of Logic in an Illogical World. This one was so fascinating, so fascinating. This is one of those that I got at Christmas, and I would just sit at a coffee shop and I would drink a vanilla breve and I would just read this book by the fireplace. Very, very interesting book. I highly recommend it. I also just love the colors. It's like this great robin's egg with the red. Next one, Personality Hacker. I think this is a great one, especially for an intro to cognitive functions. This is, if you don't know anything about cognitive functions, but you know Myers-Briggs basics, this one's really good. It includes a self-assessment. It takes you through the beginning. This is a good start to finish book. Has a chapter on each of the personality types. I would say this is a good one-stop shopping. If you're new to personality types, I'd recommend it. This one, What Color is Your Parachute? This is a pretty good book. This was actually pretty instrumental a couple years ago in me delving into self-discovery. I read a few of these at the same time. So I got into personalities, this book, Strengths Finder, which I'll talk about, kind of at the same time, and I was delving into personal growth and kind of self-discovery, and this is kind of a good Kickstarter, especially in the realm of business. Yeah, I think it's a really interesting book, and they have several editions of it. Next one is Strengths Finder. It's all rubbing off the front. This is interesting. I don't think the book is really necessary. You can easily find descriptions online. But yeah, I think the test is really interesting, and it has, if you've never heard of Strengths Finder before, it basically has a list of like 36 or something strengths that are, they're not things that I didn't think of beforehand. They're kind of words that are regular to me now, but like the word ideation, I'd never thought of that as a strength before, so they have they're interesting strengths. Yeah, 34, they have 34. Next one, SuperBetter. This was a great book. This is one of those I picked up when I was depressed. This is really good. It's about like gamifying your life, which makes it sound like it's gonna be about video games or something, but it's actually not. And it's, what does it say? The power of living gamefully is at heart a simple and transformative idea. We can use the same psychological strengths we display when we play games to confront real-life challenges, from trauma and illness to just changing our habits for the better. So yeah, I think this is a great book. It's basically just that like when you play a game, you get like in flow and you're being really creative. And anyway, so then designing your life to sort of mimic a game. I think about this book a lot, actually. I reference it just kind of in my mind throughout the day. The next one, You Can Have It All. This is a great book. This one's just a good motivational book. I just was really motivated after this. You know, there are a few different types of books. Some that I learned some from. Some I just need to hear the same message over and over again to give me a little boost of motivation. This one and this one, Don't Keep Your Day Job, similar to me. I liked this one a little bit better. My husband liked this one better. We read a lot of the same books. Oh, and You're a Badass. They're in the same. These 3 are all in the same vein. All just like motivational, making you feel good about yourself so that you actually do what you want and don't settle for a life that you're not happy with. So yeah, I would say read all of these. You know, why not? A little treat to yourself. Feel good about yourself after you read them. Coaching Habit, Say Less, Ask More. I don't know if this would really change the way that I'm a teacher. It hasn't really changed the way that I teach or coach per se, but it has changed the way that I have conversations with people a lot. The big one is, even one of the tips of advice is don't ask questions that start with why, and there are a bunch of reasons why you don't do that. So it's just a bunch of types of questions to ask. So I'd say it's been a good conversation one. The next one, Fix This Next. This is great. I think if anyone has a business, you should read it. It's based on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but it's kind of adapted for business. It's gotten really high reviews. I'm on step 1 of it. So yeah, it's really interesting. So basically it goes through the long term of a business, starting from the basic needs until you get higher and higher up. And it has a worksheet to fill out. Anyways, I've heard a lot of people who are much further along in things than I am recommend this book, and I read the whole thing and it's really, really good. And I highlighted it. Next one, Joy at Work. I don't know. I didn't get a lot from this book. I got a lot from Marie Kondo's parts of the book, but there was another author with her in it, and they kind of go back and forth. I learned some things. So she's the one about the joy of tidying up. And I actually used a lot of the principles in this book to actually try to minimalize my home. And it did help me at work, actually. I got my desk a lot more cleared out. My classroom's now minimalized. It helps me with my files and my phone. So this goes into organizing and minimalizing your workplace. So that could be your computer, your phone, your desk. It talks about productivity a lot, so there are kind of some random nuggets about productivity. I wouldn't say that you need to read it, but I think a good skim. Don't buy this book, but get it from the library or something. Bring Yourself, How to Harness the Power of Connection to Negotiate Fearlessly. I was getting tired of this is how far I'm into this book. Can you even see? Hardly. I'm not in very far at all. Basically, I was just getting tired of the anecdotes and I wanted to get to the information. The idea of it is bring yourself and your types of strengths to the negotiation table. Don't try to mimic what you think a negotiator should be like. So I was using this book for persuasion. I'm trying to get better with persuasiveness. So I've been trying to read a lot of books about persuasion. This one's interesting, but there's something about just the style of writing I don't like. If you're someone who likes anecdotes and stories, then maybe you'd like this, but I don't like that sort of stuff in nonfiction books. Getting Things Done, The Art of Stress-Free Productivity. Everyone should read this. Everyone. I mean, a lot of simple principles in here that I use every single day. It's not the most interesting read if you don't like nonfiction, if you don't like just reading for information. I really like that sort of thing. It's helped me a lot. All sorts of just flow charts and all sorts of tea goodness in here. Basically, the idea of it is be more productive so that you can spend time living your life and not thinking about your to-do items. The more you're thinking about stuff you have to do, the less you're living your life. So try to figure out how to get all that stuff under control so that you can just have more fun. It's a great book. Everyone should read it. This one, Daniel Pink, it's called When. This is the last one I have here. It's so interesting, just the yearly cycles that humans go through and daily cycles and what time of day you should do different things. And it takes you through an activity to try to figure out what your optimum time is. There are 3 stages of the day, basically. And so depending on the type of person, you should try to do analytical, tedious things at one time of the day, creative things at another, and just nothing important at the other time of day. So yeah, it goes through kind of these graphs of the different types of people and what are they called? Phonotypes? Yeah, the time that your body likes. There are 3 types of people. Anyways, so yeah, that one was really interesting. I structured over the summer when I was doing more filming and my schedule wasn't decided for me. I was designing my day around that knowledge, so that was really useful. There are 2 more. Okay, I just bought 2 more. Just because I'm trying to work with persuasion, not so much selling, but I want to be better at persuasion in general. And so I feel like if you can get good at selling, you can get good at persuasion because they're a similar thing. So the one, I just bought these 2. One I'm going to start is building a story brand because I've heard a lot of good things about it. So we'll see what I think. Already, I like the table of contents. But it's first chapter, a character, next chapter, has a problem, next chapter, and meets a guide, next chapter, who gives them a plan, next chapter, and calls them to action, next chapter, that helps them avoid failure, and ends in a success. People want your brand to participate in their transformation. So it sounds interesting. I like the flow of that so far. So I think we'll see how it goes. Trying to work on persuasion here. And then another Daniel Pink book, To Sell Is Human. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. Heard good things about this book as well. Don't know, like I said, not really trying to sell anything, just trying to get better at persuasion for the sake of talking to people, I have so many books here, they're falling over. For the sake of just communicating in daily life, and then also for being more persuasive in videos and, yada, 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 all that. So yeah, those are some of the books. Honestly, my favorites. Actually, I really like them all for different reasons. The ones that I use every day, let's see. clearly I use cognitive functions every day. I'm thinking about cognitive functions literally all the time. So all the cognitive functions ones are great. The effective executive, I use those principles every day. When I use those principles every day. This one, getting things done, I think of this book, or the principles in it every day. I probably think about principles in these 2 books every single day. If I was only going to recommend one book, it's not even the books that I think are objectively the best. This is the one, for some reason, that I liked the most. You can have it all. I also like Don't Keep Your Day Job, just because they're so motivational. Like, if I personally was only going to keep one, now that I have the knowledge from all of them, I would just keep these ones. Because, like, the knowledge sticks with me a little bit more than the feelings and the motivation, you know what I mean? The knowledge stays with me, but the feelings leave. So then I'd have to keep these around to keep feeling the good feels. So yeah, those are 20 of my personal development books, and then 2 more that I'm about to start reading. Also, just finished Midnight Sun, the new Twilight book. Edward's great in that book. You guys should read it. Okay, anyways, enough of that. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.